My name is Elian Reyes, 29 years old. I live in Florence, Italy, in a quiet studio apartment overlooking the Arno River, where Renaissance masters once walked these same cobblestone streets. I work as a medical illustrator, drawing anatomical diagrams for textbooks and research papers. A job that demands precision and patience, qualities I've cultivated during my years away from home. Home? What a strange word. My home used to be the sprawling hills of San Francisco, where fog rolled through eucalyptus groves and biotech towers pierced the sky. But now it's a small space filled with easels and half-finished sketches of human hearts. I left San Francisco 8 years ago at the age of 21, carrying a backpack full of art supplies and a heart heavy with disappointment. Today I'm returning not out of homesickness, but because my father, Arno River, the man who built an empire while I was sketching bones, has died of pancreatic cancer. I'm sitting on a flight from Florence to San Francisco, staring out the airplane window where clouds drift like memories I've tried to bury. My father passed at 67, suddenly, yet not unexpectedly, as if he chose his moment with the same calculated precision he applied to everything else. I can still hear his voice, sharp and commanding, the way he stood in his glass-walled office overlooking the bay, recounting the growth of Reyes biomedical ventures, from a small research lab to a $500 million biotech empire. He was the only one in the family who saw potential in everyone, except me, but now he's gone, and I'm returning not to mourn, but to face whatever he left behind. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. As the plane descends through San Francisco's familiar fog, I feel the weight of 8 years pressing against my chest. I didn't bring much, just a small suitcase and a simple black suit for the funeral. SFO bustles with tech executives and venture capitalists, but I feel invisible among the crowd. A taxi takes me straight to Presidio Heights, where the entire Reyes family is gathering at the estate, a modernist mansion of glass and steel nestled against the hills, its clean lines gleaming under the afternoon sun as if showcasing the family's success. I don't want to be here. 8 years ago, when I dropped out of biomedical engineering to pursue art, my father called me a dreamer, a son who wasn't strong enough to carry the family legacy. My older brother Dante shook his head and said I'd regret walking away from a guaranteed fortune. I didn't argue. I just wanted to escape the expectations, the disappointed glances, and the pressure to become someone I wasn't. But now, walking up the familiar pathway lined with sculptured hedges, old wounds reopen like surgical incisions, precise and deep. The Reyes estate looms before me, magnificent as a modern cathedral, floor-to-ceiling windows, polished concrete, and a meticulously designed Zen garden. All of it seems to whisper that I don't belong here anymore. I step through the front door into the familiar cold of marble and glass. The estate feels like a museum of success, pristine, expensive, and somehow lifeless. Relatives cluster in small groups throughout the expansive living room, their hushed conversations punctuated by the clinking of wine glasses and careful laughter. These are people who measure grief in appropriate intervals, who schedule mourning between board meetings. Elian. My mother Rosa approaches with the careful steps of someone balancing sorrow and social obligation. At 58, she still carries herself with quiet dignity, her silver-streaked hair pulled back in a simple bun. When she embraces me, I feel how thin she's become, how the weight of my father's illness has carved hollows in her frame. "You look tired, Mijo," she whispers against my ear. "Are you eating enough in Florence?" Before I can answer, Dante's voice cuts through the ambient conversations. "If everyone could gather in the study, we'll proceed with the reading of the will." He stands near the fireplace in his perfectly tailored charcoal suit, commanding attention with the natural authority of someone who has never doubted his place in the world. At 32, he embodies everything my father wanted in an heir: confident, polished, ruthlessly competent. The family lawyer, Mr. Harrison, arranges papers on my father's mahogany desk with ceremonial precision. The study feels smaller than I remember, its walls lined with medical journals and awards that chronicle Antonio Reyes's transformation from immigrant lab technician to biotech mogul. His portrait hangs above the desk, stern, intelligent, wearing the same disapproving expression he had when he told me I was wasting my potential on art. "Before we begin," Harrison says, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses, "I want to express condolences to the family. Antonio was not just a client, but a visionary who revolutionized biotechnology." Dante nods solemnly, already assuming the mantle of leadership. I notice how he positions himself slightly apart from the rest of us, a CEO addressing shareholders rather than a son mourning his father. The will reading unfolds predictably. Dante receives the controlling stake in Reyes Biomedical Ventures, the house, the investments, the patents, everything flowing to him like water finding its natural course. Various relatives receive trust funds and properties. When Harrison reaches my name, the room falls silent, with barely suppressed anticipation. "To my son Elian," he reads, "I leave my collection of anatomical sketches and medical illustrations, as well as a sealed envelope containing personal letters." Harrison hands me a thick manila envelope and a wooden box of my father's old drawings. Additionally, Elian will receive a monthly stipend of $5,000 from the family trust. Someone suppresses a laugh, probably my cousin Raphael. The amount is generous by normal standards, but compared to Dante's inheritance, it feels like a dismissal wrapped in legal language. "That concludes the reading," Harrison announces. The room empties quickly, relatives clustering around Dante to discuss the company's future. I slip away to my childhood bedroom, unchanged since I left. Anatomical posters still covering the walls, art supplies gathering dust on the desk. I open the sealed envelope with trembling fingers. Inside are 3 handwritten letters in my father's precise script. The first is addressed specifically to me. "Elian, if you are reading this, then I am gone and the burden of truth has passed to you. I know you think I never understood you, never valued your artistic gifts. I was wrong about many things, but I was not wrong about your character. You have something your brother lacks, a moral compass that cannot be bought or bent. What you see in this family is not all there is. Find the black notebook in my study, hidden behind the medical textbooks on the 3rd shelf. Inside, you will discover why I built this company and what I did to protect it. The choice of what to do with this knowledge is yours alone. But remember, son, sometimes the greatest inheritance is not money or power, but the courage to do what is right. Your father, Antonio." The letter feels surreal, like something from a thriller rather than a message from the pragmatic businessman I thought I knew. A black notebook? I've been in my father's study countless times, but I never noticed anything unusual about his bookshelf. I wait until the house grows quiet, until the relatives have departed and Dante has left for urgent business meetings. Only Rosa remains, moving through the rooms like a ghost. I slip into the study and approach the 3rd shelf. Behind a worn copy of Gray's Anatomy, my fingers find a small lever. When pressed, a section of the shelf swings open, revealing a hidden compartment containing a black leather notebook. The pages contain my father's handwriting, but not his confident business script. These are desperate scrawls of a man wrestling with conscience. March 15, 2015, Project Isomer trials beginning. Subject EM showing promising results, but neural side effects concerning. Board wants to proceed regardless. April 2, 2015, EM's condition deteriorating. Memory loss and disorientation. Dr. Chen raising ethical concerns. Need to contain information. April 20, 2015, Naomi Chen, terminated. Too many questions. Legal forced NDA. God help me, what have we become? Page after page chronicles systematic cover-up of what appears to be a clinical trial gone catastrophically wrong. The final entry, dated 3 months ago, makes my blood run cold. I am dying, and with me dies the last conscience of this company. Dante understands business better than I gave him credit for, but Elian, perhaps there is hope yet. I close the notebook, heart pounding. This isn't family drama. This is evidence of crimes that could destroy everything my father built, and somehow he wanted me to find it. The next morning, I wake with the black notebook pressed against my chest like a talisman. Rosa is in the kitchen preparing coffee with methodical precision, trying to maintain normalcy. Her eyes immediately notice the notebook in my hands. "You found it," she says quietly. "Not a question." "You knew?" She nods, gripping her coffee cup. "Your father said you would know what to do with it." An hour later, I stand outside Reyes Biomedical Ventures headquarters, 30 floors of glass and steel piercing the fog like a monument to modern ambition. I haven't been here since an awkward internship at 19, when my father hoped to spark my interest in the family business. At reception, I manufacture confidence. "I'm Elian Reyes. I'd like to donate some of my father's anatomical illustrations to the company archives." The young receptionist brightens. "Of course, Mr. Reyes. I'm so sorry for your loss." She makes a call, then hands me a visitor's badge. "Someone from corporate communications will assist you." I wait in the lobby, surrounded by displays showcasing the company's achievements, breakthrough treatments, pharmaceutical partnerships, clinical trials, helping thousands. An impressive legacy that makes the notebook's contents feel even more sinister. "Elian Reyes?" I turn to see an Asian American woman approaching, early 40s, with intelligent eyes behind stylish glasses. Professional navy blazer, but something familiar about her face. "I'm Naomi Chen," she says, extending her hand. "Board advisor now, but I used to be in R&D. I knew your father." The name hits like a physical blow. Naomi Chen, the same name from the notebook, the researcher terminated for asking too many questions. I keep my expression neutral. "Nice to meet you. I was hoping to find a good home for Dad's old illustrations." "Of course," she says, but her eyes study me carefully. "Why don't we go to my office?" Her 15th floor office overlooks the bay, walls covered with degrees and awards. She gestures to a chair across from her desk. "I was sorry about Antonio's passing," she says. "He was a complex man." "Complex how?" She hesitates, then seems to make a decision. "Can I ask why you're really here? Something tells me this isn't about donating illustrations." I study her face, trying to read her intentions. The notebook burns in my jacket pocket. Finally, I take a risk. "Dr. Chen, what can you tell me about Project Isomer?" The effect is immediate. She goes completely still, knuckles whitening as she grips her coffee cup. For a long moment, neither of us speaks. "Where did you hear that name?" she asks finally. Instead of answering, I pull out the black notebook and place it on her desk. She stares at it like it's a poisonous snake. "My father left me some things," I say carefully. "I think he wanted me to understand what really happened here." Naomi opens the notebook with trembling hands, scanning pages I've memorized. Her face grows pale as she reads, tears forming in her eyes. "I tried to stop it," she whispers. "I filed reports, raised concerns, begged them to halt the trials. But the board was desperate for a breakthrough. The IPO was scheduled, investors expecting results, and EM's initial progress looked miraculous." "What happened to EM?" "Elias Mendez, a 34-year-old construction worker who volunteered because he needed money. We were testing experimental neurological treatment, something that could revolutionize brain injury therapy. But the side effects," she shakes her head. "Memory loss, personality changes, seizures. He became a different person entirely." "And my father covered it up?" "Not just your father, the entire board. They forced me out, made me sign an NDA threatening criminal prosecution if I spoke about what I'd seen. They buried the data, falsified reports, rushed to IPO before anyone could ask uncomfortable questions." I feel sick. "Is Elias still alive?" "Last I heard, somewhere in the Central Valley, trying to piece together a life with a broken mind." She looks at me intently. "Why are you asking? What do you plan to do?" "I don't know, but I can't pretend I never saw this." She nods slowly. "Your father was a good man who made terrible choices. Toward the end, I think he regretted it. Maybe that's why he left this to you." Telling and preparing this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Will you help me find Elias? She's quiet, staring out at the bay where fog rolls in from the Pacific. If you can find real proof, documentation, testimony, something that can't be dismissed, then yes. But understand what you're risking. This company employs thousands. Your brother has built his life around it. There are powerful people who will do anything to protect their investments. 2 days later, I'm driving through California's Central Valley toward Fresno. Following directions, Naomi texted. The address leads to a trailer park where mobile homes sit in neat rows. Number 47 is a faded blue trailer with a small succulent garden and weathered American flag. I sit in my rental car, gathering courage. What do you say to someone whose life was destroyed by your family's company? Finally, I knock. Footsteps approach slowly, multiple locks being undone. The door opens to reveal a man in his early 50s who looks older. Gaunt face, prematurely gray hair, wary eyes of someone who's learned not to trust. Can I help you? His voice is cautious. Are you Elias Mendez? He freezes, hand tightening on the doorframe. Who's asking? My name is Elian Reyes. I think we need to talk. Recognition flickers across his face, followed by anger. Reyes, like the company that destroyed my life? Like the son who just found out what they did to you, I reply carefully. Please, Mr. Mendez, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here because I think my father wanted me to find you. Elias stares at me for a long moment, then steps back and opens the door wider. Come in, but keep your voice down. My wife doesn't know about before. The trailer interior is small, but meticulously clean. Family photos cover every surface. Wedding pictures, children's school portraits, vacation snapshots, speaking of a life rebuilt from ruins. Elias gestures for me to sit on a worn couch while he takes the chair across from me. You said your father wanted you to find me. Antonio Reyes is dead, isn't he? Cancer, I confirm, pulling out the black notebook. He left me this. Dr. Chen told me what happened to you. His face cycles through emotions. Pain, rage, finally weary resignation. Naomi Chen, she was the only one who tried to help me. The only one who gave a damn about what their miracle drug was doing to my brain. Will you tell me what happened? He's quiet so long I wonder if he'll refuse. Then he begins speaking, voice distant, as if recounting someone else's story. I was working construction, trying to support my family. My daughter Elena was 8. My son Michael was 5. When I saw the clinical trial ad, it seemed like heaven's gift. $10,000 for taking experimental medication for 3 months. They said it would improve memory and cognitive function. Perfectly safe. I might even be smarter afterward. He laughs bitterly. Instead, I lost pieces of myself every day. The memory loss? That was just the beginning. Headaches first, then confusion. I'd forget where I was, what I was doing. I'd look at my children and not recognize their faces. Carmen would find me standing in the kitchen at 3 a.m., not knowing how I got there. He walks to the window, staring at the dusty landscape. By the trial's end, I wasn't the same person. I couldn't work. Who hires a construction worker who might forget how to use a hammer? My marriage nearly fell apart. Carmen became sole breadwinner, while caring for 2 kids and a husband who was essentially a stranger. What did the doctor say? At first, temporary adjustment period. When symptoms worsened, they suggested pre-existing conditions. Maybe I'd had a head injury. Maybe I was making it up. His voice hardens. Then, Dr. Chen came with medical records showing what their drug had done to my brain chemistry. She begged me to file an FDA complaint. But you didn't? He turns back, eyes filled with old pain. I tried. Dr. Chen helped me prepare everything. But before I could submit it, Reyes' biomedical lawyer showed up. They had an NDA and a $100,000 check. You took the money? My family was about to lose our house, he says defensively. The lawyer said if I signed and stayed quiet, they'd provide ongoing medical care and financial support. If I didn't, he shrugs. A construction worker with mental problems wouldn't be believed over a prestigious biotech company. I returned to San Francisco that evening, with Elias's documents burning in my backpack. The city lights twinkle below as I drive through the hills, but the familiar beauty feels tainted now. I'm staying at a modest hotel in the Mission District, far from the family estate and corporate towers. In the parking garage, I notice a black sedan with tinted windows near the entrance. Too clean, too deliberate, trying too hard to be inconspicuous. In the elevator, I'm joined by a man in his 40s wearing a gray suit and practiced friendliness. He presses the button for the floor below mine. "Terrible about Arno River," he says suddenly. "Real loss to the biotech community." I study him carefully. Brown hair, average height, unremarkable face. But his eyes are alert, calculating. "Did you know my father?" "Only by reputation. Though I understand you've been asking questions about the family business lately." The elevator seems to slow. "I'm sorry, do we know each other?" "Richard Hayes, Corporate Security Consulting. Sometimes families going through transitions need guidance about protecting their interests." I don't take his offered business card. "I'm not sure what you mean." Sometimes grief makes people want to dig up the past, look for explanations that aren't there. Natural, but destructive to everyone involved, including the person doing the digging. The elevator reaches his floor, but he presses the stop button. We lurch to a halt between floors. "Mr. Reyes," he says, all friendliness gone, "some stones are better left unturned. Your father understood that. Your brother understands that. I hope you can understand it too." "Are you threatening me?" "I'm offering friendly advice, the kind that keeps families together and reputations intact, the kind that prevents unnecessary complications." He releases the stop button. When the doors open, he steps out and turns back. "Enjoy your stay in San Francisco. But remember, sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let the dead rest in peace." In my room, I check the locks and close curtains. On my bedside table lies my room key, though I'm certain I had it in my pocket. Someone has been here, sending a message. "We know where you are." My phone buzzes. "Family dinner tomorrow night. Dante wants to see you. 7 p.m. at Boulevard. Don't disappoint him." An hour later, Rosa calls, voice strained. "Where are you staying?" "Hotel Zephyr in the Mission." "Why?" "Come home tonight. Stay in your old room." Her voice drops to a whisper. "I can't talk over the phone. But please, Mijo, come home, and whatever you're doing, be very careful who you trust." The line goes dead. My mother has never been dramatic, but her voice carried genuine fear I've never heard before. Professional surveillance doesn't advertise itself. That elevator encounter was meant to rattle me. Tomorrow night's dinner with Dante feels like a confrontation I'm not ready for, but one that's inevitable. Either way, I'm committed now. I can't turn back, even if it means going to war with my own brother. Boulevard Restaurant sits atop a downtown high-rise, its windows offering panoramic views of San Francisco Bay. The kind of place where tech executives broker deals over $200 wine, where power is served alongside perfectly plated cuisine. I arrive precisely at 7, wearing my best shirt and Florence blazer, armor for a battle I'm not sure I can win. Dante is already seated at a corner table, studying his phone with focused intensity. Navy blazer, crisp white shirt, perfectly styled hair. Even relaxed, he radiates the confidence of someone who has never doubted his place in the world. "Elian," he says, standing to embrace me. To observers, we look like loving brothers sharing a meal. "You look good. Florence agrees with you." He orders expensive Cabernet without consulting me, raises his glass in toast. "To Dad's legacy and the future of the Reyes family." I touch my glass to his but don't drink. "What kind of future did you have in mind?" "A prosperous one. Reyes Biomedical is poised for incredible growth. 3 drugs in phase 2 trials, major pharmaceutical partnerships, a pipeline that could revolutionize neurological treatment." Quote, "Sounds impressive." It is. All built on Dad's foundation, his vision, his sacrifice, his willingness to make difficult decisions. He sips wine. "I know you two had differences, but you can't deny what he accomplished. I'm beginning to understand exactly what he accomplished. Something flickers across Dante's face. What do you mean? I pull out my phone, making sure the recording app is visible. I mean, I've been learning about how the business really got started. His eyes lock onto the phone, jaw tightening. Interesting accusation from someone who walked away 8 years ago. Maybe I walked away because I sensed something was wrong. Or maybe you couldn't handle building something meaningful. His voice remains calm but carries an edge. Not everyone is cut out for business, Elian. No shame in being an artist. Is there shame in covering up medical experiments that destroyed people's lives? The mask slips completely. Dante's face hardens as he leans forward. I don't know what you think you've discovered, but you're playing with forces you don't understand. Am I? Because Dad left me pretty clear documentation about Project Isomer and what happened to trial participants. Dad was dying and filled with regret. Dying men often see sins where there were only difficult business decisions. Difficult business decisions? Is that what you call destroying Elias Mendez's life? The name hits like a physical blow. He's completely still, calculating how much I know. Elias Mendez was compensated fairly for participation in legitimate clinical trials, he says finally. Any complications were properly documented according to FDA protocols. That's not what Dr. Naomi Chen says. Naomi Chen was a disgruntled employee terminated for cause. She had her own agenda. She says you falsified federal records. His admission hangs in the air. I protected valuable research from hysterical overreaction, just like Dad taught me. The next morning, I wake before dawn and organize everything. The black notebook, Elias's medical records, documentation from Naomi, and the recording of Dante's admission. Spread across my childhood desk, it looks like evidence of conspiracy, which it is. My phone buzzes with a text from Naomi. Emergency board meeting called for this afternoon. Something big happening. Can you meet me at 11 a.m.? Pier 39, near the aquarium. I find her sitting on a bench overlooking the bay, face tense with worry. Dante called an emergency board session, she says. He's pushing for an accelerated vote on a major acquisition, something that would make him untouchable as CEO by diversifying assets and bringing in new investors. He's trying to insulate himself. Exactly. If this deal goes through, even a major scandal might not remove him. She turns to face me. If we're going to act, it has to be today. This might be our only chance. I play portions of my recording. Her face grows pale as she listens to Dante's casual dismissal of victims and threats against me. This is it, she breathes. This is enough. But we need to present it correctly, to the right people. What do you mean? 3 board members might be sympathetic. People who joined after the IPO weren't part of the original cover-up. Margaret Thornfield is board chair, a retired federal judge with strong ethics. David Kim runs a medical ethics foundation. Sarah Martinez lost her brother to an improperly monitored experimental treatment. Will they listen? If we present evidence correctly, yes. But, Elian, once we do this, there's no taking it back. This will destroy your relationship with Dante permanently. It might destroy your family. I think about Rosa's worried face, about my simple life in Florence, about drawing anatomical illustrations without corporate politics. Then I think about Elias Mendez in his trailer, mind fractured by a treatment that was supposed to help him. Set up the meeting. 2 hours later, I'm facing 3 of San Francisco's most powerful biotech leaders in a downtown conference room. Margaret Thornfield has silver hair and sharp eyes of someone who spent decades evaluating evidence. David Kim carries the intense focus of a medical ethics believer. Sarah Martinez has composed bearing but pain in her eyes, someone who understands personal loss. Mr. Reyes, Judge Thornfield begins, Dr. Chen says you have information regarding historical practices at Reyes Biomedical. Anything you share will be treated with utmost seriousness until we determine appropriate action. I begin with my father's letter, reading relevant portions aloud. The room is silent as I describe finding the notebook and meeting Elias. When I play Dante's recording, Sarah Martinez gasps at his casual cruelty. "These are serious allegations," David Kim says. "Do you have documentation?" Quote, I spread evidence across the table. Medical records, suppressed reports, the original NDA, my father's handwritten notes detailing the cover-up. The three examine everything carefully. "This is authentic," Judge Thornfield says finally. "I've seen enough corporate cover-ups to recognize the patterns." "What do you want from us, Mr. Reyes?" Judge Thornfield asks directly. "Financial compensation? Revenge against your brother? Control of the company?" The question catches me off guard. "I want justice for Elias Mendez and the other victims. I want to make sure this never happens again. And I want to honor my father's final wish that the truth be told, whatever the consequences. Even if it destroys the company? Even if it destroys everything. Some things are more important than money or family loyalty." The three board members exchange glances, having some silent conversation. Finally, Judge Thornfield speaks. "We're calling an emergency ethics review. This afternoon's board meeting will be postponed until we conduct a full investigation. We'll bring in independent investigators, forensic accountants, and medical ethicists to examine every aspect of this case." "What about Dante?" "Mr. Dante Reyes will be suspended from his CEO position pending investigation outcome. The board will appoint an interim CEO for day-to-day operations. He won't go quietly," Naomi warns. "He has allies, major shareholders who profit from the company's success. They'll fight this." "Let them fight," David Kim says firmly. "Medical ethics isn't subject to shareholder votes." The story breaks at 6 p.m. Tuesday, leading evening news on every Bay Area station. Biotech empire built on cover-up, Reyes family scandal rocks, San Francisco. By Wednesday morning, it's national news. Dante's counterattack comes at 11 a.m., a press conference, with expensive lawyers flanking him at the podium. He's wearing his most trustworthy suit, face arranged in wounded dignity. "My family is being attacked by false and malicious accusations," he begins, voice carrying perfect pain. "My brother Elian, whom I love, despite our differences, is a struggling artist who has battled depression and substance abuse for years. In his grief over our father's death, he has chosen to believe conspiracy theories rather than accept reality. The lies flow smoothly, delivered with conviction. Depression, substance abuse, I've never had either, but Dante makes it sound plausible, tragic. The documents he claims to have found are either forgeries or misinterpretations of legitimate correspondence. We've hired independent experts to examine these materials." A reporter raises her hand. "What about Dr. Naomi Chen's support?" "Dr. Chen was terminated 8 years ago for falsifying research data. She's harbored a grudge ever since, and sees my brother's mental health crisis as an opportunity for revenge. More lies, but delivered with authority that makes some reporters nod. This is what Dante does best, controlling narratives, managing perceptions, turning victims into villains. But the tide has already turned. The board's investigation is underway, federal authorities have been notified, and Elias Mendez's medical records speak louder than corporate spin. Within 48 hours, Dante is formally removed from his position as criminal charges are filed. The Reyes empire, built on a foundation of covered-up suffering, finally begins to crumble under the weight of truth. 6 months later, I'm sitting in my Florence studio, working on an anatomical illustration of the human heart for a medical textbook. Afternoon sun streams through windows, casting warm light across my easel, where I've been sketching the intricate network of arteries and veins that sustain life. It's detailed, precise work requiring patience and steady hands, qualities I've had to rediscover after the chaos of the past year. My phone buzzes with an email from the Victim Compensation Fund, confirming that Elias Mendez has received his settlement and is using the money to start a nonprofit advocating for clinical trial participants' rights. Maria Santos's family has also received compensation, funding research into her condition. It's not enough, can never be enough, but it's something. There's also a package from San Francisco. Inside, I find a letter from Rosa and another sealed envelope in my father's handwriting, dated just days before his death, discovered in his personal safe during final estate liquidation. Rosa's letter is brief. Mijo, the lawyers found this settling your father's affairs. He must have written it after giving you the notebook. I thought you should have it. I love you and I'm proud of the man you've become. Mama. I open my father's final letter with trembling hands. My dear Elian, if you are reading this, then you have done what I could not. Chosen truth over expedience, justice over profit, integrity over family loyalty. I know this path has cost you dearly. For all of this, I am both sorry and grateful. I spent months trying to find courage to do what you have done, finding new excuses each day to delay. But you were always the son most like the young man I used to be, an immigrant boy who dreamed of using science to help people, not exploit them. You had courage to be yourself, even when it meant disappointing those you loved. I am leaving you this burden, because I believe you are the only one strong enough to carry it. The company will survive whatever revelations you make, but the people we harmed cannot be rebuilt. They deserve someone to speak for them. I know you never wanted to inherit anything from me, but I am leaving you the most important inheritance I have, the responsibility to be better than I was. Your father, Antonio. I set the letter down, tears blurring my vision. Outside, Florence continues its ancient rhythm. Tourists photographing Renaissance facades, students hurrying to classes, locals gathering in cafes. The city that gave birth to the Renaissance, where art and science flourished under families who understood that true legacy isn't measured in gold, but in beauty and knowledge left behind. I return to my heart illustration, adding final details to chambers and vessels that sustain life. It's a complex organ, capable of both great strength and profound fragility. Like the human conscience, it can be damaged by neglect or strengthened by use. Tomorrow, I begin preparing for a new role with the Medical Ethics Monitoring Initiative in Geneva. Tonight, I sit surrounded by anatomical drawings, thinking about inheritance and redemption, about the difference between the legacy we're given and the legacy we choose to leave behind. Up next, we have 2 more incredible stories that are waiting for you. Just click the image you want to watch, and it will take you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. It would mean a lot.